number 2. All right, everybody, here we go into game number 2 of the NASL, the Shattered Temple. This is going to be softball versus EGidrA, where EGidrA is up 1-0 after a fantastic match on Belshire Beach, the prettiest map in the world. Now we're going over to Shattered Temple, of course, and I'm joined alongside by my good friend, Orb. Orb, dude, what a game 1, right?
What a game 1. That is the TVZ that I live to watch, man. Seriously. That was just like my favorite kind of TVZ. I love watching when Zerg players are active with their mutas. They engage well and properly with those Zerglings and Banelings. They don't just suicide them into tanks. Just really good control. And I feel like even though softball did make a couple mistakes there, he played overall pretty well. He faltered to the intense harassment from softball.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, sorry, excuse me. Intense harassment from EGidrA, yeah.
I got you, bro.
Oh,
no worries, but yeah, I have to agree to an extent. I mean, softball really looked like he wasn't able to keep up with his opponent, but nevertheless, we'll see. Shattered Temple, you know, there's a lot of controversy. I feel like there's a lot of capacity for both these races to be very, very strong at different points in this game. I feel like the 3-base, assuming that the gold isn't taken, the 3-base Zerg is very, very strong against that 2 upcoming into 3-base Terran. But as soon as the Terran gets that gold, it's like, holy crap, Zerg has to be really, really defensive. They have to weather the storm for like 4 minutes, and then they're going to be okay just denying the 4th and 5th base the entire time. We'll see if that happens this game around. I would love to see a huge macro game, especially with EGidrA in the game. He is, I don't know if you knew this, but he's known for his macro games.
Indeed he is, and I got to completely agree with you on that 3-base we were talking about. On this map, the layout, especially on cross positions only, which is the way it is set up on NASL Shattered Temple, that 3rd base down there in the bottom right, it's pretty easy to defend. You don't have too big of a difficulty defending that. Defending against drops, you do just kind of have a linear setup between the 3 bases. However, once you go to try to take the 4th and the 5th, then all of a sudden your bases are pretty disjointed. It can be difficult to defend against multi-pronged drops. So map control can be very important, especially when there's only one Xel'Naga tower in the center of this map. It can be hard to watch for your players going for counterattacks around the sides of the map. But it looks like EGidrA's just going to go ahead and send out that drone scout. He's going to see it. Not that much, though. He's only going to see the barracks, the 2 supply depots. And he's not going to know that softball does have that refinery mining right now.
Yep, and no 2 barracks play coming out of softball this time around, and I do like that. We are going to be probably seeing some sort of factory tech. That's the completely standard thing to do on the Shattered Temple. Just go into factory and then get that reactor on. Or I've also seen a tech lab. Either of those 2 get fast blue flame helium, things like that. But we'll see as time goes on. In the meantime, EGidrA is just playing super standard. He has his gas coming up. He has his hatchery coming up. Everything's going good. His queens are being produced, and I think we're in for a standard game in this beginning phase.
Absolutely. Looks like it is going to be a Reactor Hellion expansion here from softball. It's a great build to just get map control, deny creep spread from your opponent. Every once in a while, if your opponent makes a mistake, you can actually get some nice harassment and kill a couple of drones. But mostly, you get that map control, you deny the creep spread, deny your opponent's 3rd, while you take an expansion of your own. So it's a pretty standard TVZ build that works out pretty well. Assuming you have that good unit control. Now, EGidrA, meanwhile, with that gas mining, probably just going to go ahead and utilize that metabolic boost to defend against these Hellions. That speed on those Zerglings can help them out quite a bit. But, of course, it can be a lot easier with the help of things like Spine Crawlers, which EGidrA does have one on the way at the natural.
4 Zerglings against 2 Marines right here. EGidrA was able to catch these with the sight of those Xel'Naga towers. It looks like the Marines are not going to be able to be enough to kill not even 1 Zergling. That's a very nice trade. I would take a 2 for a 0. That's a infinite percentage gain on your opponent. If you can extrapolate that, EGidRA's definitely going to win.
Oh yeah, man. you never give up an advantage like that. Never. Just push it to victory.
Oh, there he goes and loses the advantage. All right, GG. Anyway, the Hellions are going to come out here. 2 Hellions apiece, and of course, EGidrA knows that this is going to be a reactor. He doesn't know if it's going to be expansion behind this or not. He needs to get his Overlord into position, but for now, EGidRA's just going to defend up. He has a Spine Crawler and a Queen in a good placement. That way he can just stop any sort of shenanigans, any run-bys with these Hellions. Another 2 Hellions are going to join up, and it looks like, there's an uproot. There's an uproot, and EGidrA has to be careful.
He does have to be careful, but I like what he's doing. He actually was foregoing a very, very early larva inject to get that creep tumor down. That was from the main. He only had 2 queens at the time. Does now have 3 though, so should be pretty well defended against these Hellions. Also is going to have that creep spread connecting those bases, make it a lot easier to defend and set up queen blocks. Meanwhile, TtSoftBall, his expansion is done. He's added on 3, it looks like 3 barracks total he has right now, and has stim already a third of the way done. That's one of the fastest stims out of a Reactor Hellion expansion I think I've ever seen. So do you think he might just be gearing up for a very early timing attack?
Well, a lot of times when you're doing a fast Hellion or fast Hellion build, you get a lot of Marines just to force your opponent to make a lot more units than they want to be, and that way you threaten sort of a bust. You can kill spine crawlers, especially if they don't make enough. You can kill your opponents just with that synergy between those Marines that are able to kill off those spine crawlers very fast and the Hellions that protect the Marines from any sort of Zerglings or mass Zerglings. So we're going to see if he goes and does that. I would like him to just pressure on. Behind that, you can also do, you know, some sort of tank build up, that kind of stuff. For now, he is getting tanks. We don't see a starport. That is the Korean style these days. We see a lot of starportless pushes off of 2 base, and it's extremely strong just because all the gas is being funneled into siege tanks and upgrades.
Yeah, you can tell he has a very, very specific build here, as he only actually had 1 SCV on that refinery for a while there, then put in the 2 after he was going to start needing it for those additional tanks, but just pumping out as many Marines as possible right now. He's doing a great job with those Hellions, trying to deny as much creep spread as possible right now, but idra is ever so slowly creeping out there. He is taking out the destructible rocks. You can go get ready to take that 3rd base. Does unfortunately take a very long time for Lings to take out those destructible rocks with 3 armor, but his lair's already done. He's got bathing speed on the way, and that Spire. So, I mean, idra's playing pretty standard here, but unfortunately, that Spire timing and not going to be ideal for him with this Marine tank push coming so much earlier than he's probably expecting. Here he comes with some speedings, but he's got to be careful. The entire army's there, and he sees it. What's he going to do to react?
He's going to make a lot of bailing Zerglings right now. He has no choice. 14 Zerglings on the way. Siege tank is not finished yet, and there's the big scan, taking out a lot of the creep tumors. All of idra's hard work gone, and you know what? As a Zerg, sometimes, because I do play Zerg when I 2v2, that's the most depressing thing. I don't want to continue my creep spread at all. It's like you're just gonna kill it. What the heck, man?
And here he comes, though. He's trying to get the surround. He does get the surround with the Zerglings. He's going to be able to kill off that tank. But, oh, nice bathing explosion at the end. Unfortunately, there weren't that many, though, during the engagement. He missed almost all of the bathings except for 1, unfortunately. Just some really, really good micro by TtSoftBall. And those Hellions helping out so much. A lot of players in this situation would have lost their Hellions earlier on, trying to force some harassment. But TtSoftBall, so smart, kept them all alive, and that helped out so much when the bathings from idra came in to engage.
Yeah, and look at this. Oh my goodness. The 1 siege tank is over here right next to the gold. Such good position by TtSoftBall. TtSoftBall is able to keep that for so long. I don't think there's any way for him to take that out. Nope, well, I take that back.
Yes,
6 mutas on the way.
7 mutas.
Yep.
Yeah, the muta's gonna be able to come out, and with, well, there are some Marine reinforcements. I was about to say he'll be able to pick off anything he wants here, but the Marine reinforcements just arrived, so idra not actually be able to engage fully, but will be able to go take out those tanks if he's very careful with his muta positioning. He's gonna maybe try to snipe those Hellions there. Does get 1 of them, but really needs to pick off those 2 tanks if he wants to be able to engage into this army.
Here we go. The mutas are just trying to jab at all of these units as much as possible. It looks like finally these 4 Marines are going to come over here and try to defend this 1 siege tank, but the siege tank is finally going to go, excuse me, the Marines are going to go down. The siege tank is being fired upon, and it looks like the siege tank will go down. There's just 1 more, nope, 2 more siege tanks over here. Turrets are being made, and this almost looks like StarCraft 1-esque. Yeah, you have this huge contain on the Zerg, and all you start doing is piling on the bunkers. You pile on the turrets and slowly push your way up into your opponent, hopefully taking them out and having such a cost-efficient army. Let's go ahead and look at the units lost tab. We can see that idra has lost a significant amount more than his opponent, but it's still early in the game. There's a lot to see.
And here he comes with the mutas, trying to pick off some reinforcements. Does do some damage to that tank, but overall not enough. Just trying to pick off any Marines he can here while they are stragglers out by themselves. Actually doing quite a bit of damage. The problem here is that TtSoftBall already has the 3rd orbital command already done. So idra, meanwhile, with just this 1 queen poking away, doing 1 or 2 damage at a time to those destructible rocks, only just finally now took them out. So idra has been starved, unable to go take a 3rd base this entire time, while TtSoftBall is ready to go take his 3rd anytime he wants.
Well, speaking of the devil, there's that 3rd hatcher that goes down. I would love to see a macro hatcher actually coming out from idra right now, because he has a lot of spare minerals, and he cannot spend it in time. He does have full saturation in all of his bases, and that's probably why there's a huge excess of minerals. Nevertheless, we do see that the mutas are pushing in here. They were able to take out one siege tank. There's only 2 siege tanks left, and here's the big push in. Zerglings are going to sprint forward. Mutas are finally going to start engaging from the top, and it looks like he's gone overrun this town tonight.
Beautifully executed by idra. With those mutas in the back, we can see, I mean, a lot of players would say in this kind of situation, well, what are you going to do? I mean, mutas do get countered by Marines, but idra with that positioning just forces it to work by sending them around wherever the Marines don't happen to be defending well enough, only just a couple straggler Marines out by themselves. So he's done a great job engaging this whole time. Took out that contain. Does have his third base completing pretty soon here. He does see that there's a pretty nice defensive positioning set up in the center of the map by SoftBall, but it looks like he's just going to go ahead and take out the gold. He realizes with that contain, SoftBall almost definitely would have taken a third by now. And thus he's just going to try to double expand to catch up. But wow, there's a medevac from SoftBall chilling in the main of idra, and his mutas keep flying right by it, but I guess it just signed a peace treaty, man.
Yeah, it's completely fine, man. He doesn't care at all. Now, the big problem right now is, of course, we're looking at the supplies. 103 supply for SoftBall. He's trying to get his gold expansion, but look at how much position he has open. The armory's just finishing. He's going to get a Thor pretty soon, but the big problem is, how can he defend all this position with not enough Marines and medevacs all over the place? He still doesn't have combat shields. Rutrow, he definitely needs that.
Oh, absolutely. That's got to be causing some severe problems for him. I mean, that's essentially can only be a mistake. He has the gas for it. He's actually got 800 gas saved up right now. And when your Marines just don't have that extra HP, it's so much more difficult to deal with banelings, mutas, pretty much anything, even Zerglings. And now these mutas taking out the turrets, might even get at this armory. And they will kill the army. That's going to prevent any Thors from being produced, any upgrades for mech as well. And you might even get this reactor as well. He's just killing off so much production from SoftBall. This is causing huge problems for his macro.
Definitely, and we can see even the Marines, they're being attacked head on. Geez, idra doesn't even care. He took a lot of damage, actually, but didn't take a lot of casualties, which is actually pretty good. Gold expansion is being taken for him as well. But you know what? This is what I was talking about. It's a lot of position to be defending, and SoftBall is just about approaching, well, he's kind of approaching the amount he needs to defend against all areas, but still very risky. We can see that the gold expansion is heavily dependent on all of his turrets defending it. So, you know, it's just tough right now, in my opinion, for SoftBall just to clamp down this position. I think you need to just chill out a little bit longer, get a larger count of units. That way he can accurately defend against everything while not having to invest so much in static defense.
Wow, look at that harassment from idra. He came in, skirted around, just around the edge of that sensor tower replacement. Came in, he's actually going to get a tank as well, pick off this turret. He's doing a great job just continuing to be as active as possible with these mutas. He picked off quite a few SCVs and mules at that gold base, so SoftBall is just kind of getting further and further behind. It's 70 drones to 52 SCVs right now, and idra looks like he's in a pretty good advantage. He is just at, well, he's at 2-0 actually now, so 2-0 versus the 1-1 Marines of SoftBall, and it looks like SoftBall realizes he probably just got behind in economy. So he's going to use the advantage he had earlier on to try to come forward with a push before he falls too far behind against idra's 4 bases.
This is even worse than last game, though. Again, another push coming out, but as I said before, combat shield is not upgraded, so he has -10 in every single one of those Marines. That
5
is,
seconds, though.
That is so difficult. Oh, he is. Oh, okay, he got it. Woof. I got so scared. Okay, so that being said, he does have pretty good position, but he needs to be careful. He's not sieged. Here's the huge engagement, and the banelings are going to come in. All the Marines are almost surrounded. Oh my god, the Zerglings were cleaned up and behind, but there are just so many mutalisks out here, and they're going to take them all down. There they go, and holy crap, SoftBall. Where are you going to go from now? idra has complete retention in all of his mutalisks. I don't think he lost a single one, maybe one. He has 25 mutas out. Those are not...
8 more on the way, too.
Those aren't the gas-intensive units, you know? The mutas are the gas-intensive units. He lost only Zerglings and Banelings. If you're only losing Zerglings and Banelings, do you know how fast your recharge time is for all of your entire army? It's so fast, and idra is just getting further and further ahead as the game goes on.
He really is. He engaged really well there, and I can't emphasize enough how actually hard that is to do in a real game. It looks so easy spectating, saying, oh, just set up a flank here. But when you don't have vision of that Terran army, choosing the right moment, noticing that, you know, sending in maybe one Ling, realizing, whoa, hey, he actually just unsieged all of his tanks. Finding that opportunity is something that only the best players ever do. So huge props to idra, and he engaged really well there. Unfortunately, SoftBall, you just got to be more patient, because if you unsiege all of your tanks at the same time, it's not really going to work out for you. It looks like he has a drop that was trying to be queued up, but went right by an Overlord, and it looks like idra cleaned it up very easily with that increasingly nightmare-worthy cloud of mutas.
Yep, and it looks like another push-out's coming here, and I don't think he even has enough Marines to stop the mutas alone. Here we go, the big push-in. Zerglings are going directly on top of the tanks, and it looks like the Marines just need to scurry their way home. A good amount of defensive units are back home, but Banelings are going to be rolling in here. They're not able to connect on the big, huge groups of Marines. Finally, one Thor is going to come out here, and he is the one that says, get the bunk out of here. Your mutas are no good. But you know what? He might be terribly, terribly mistaken, because there are 33 against 1.
Yeah, and he's got 8 more, so it's going to be 41 mutas.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, idra's muta production right now is just out of control. He's been on 4 base with 8 gas. As you said in earlier casts with me, 8 gas is just scary. As a Zerg player, when you have that 8 gas, you can do anything you want. idra already is a 5th base finishing as well, so while the 4th is just not landing for SoftBall, I mean, the 5th is going up for idra, so he's staying ahead, and he's ever so far ahead. If you look at the income tab, actually he's behind on drones right now, surprisingly, but with the increased number of bases, still has the better economy. And look at these mutas just going in the main. They're killing every single turret. idra just does not even care. He has so many mutas with good upgrade of just 1-0 that no number of turrets essentially can stop them. So SoftBall's desperately trying to come back with this Marine Thor force to defend, but there's also a Zerglin counterattack at the 4th, forcing SoftBall not to be mining and also to lose a lot of SCVs.
Great combination tech now. Oh my god, idra even takes out that armory. He one-shots every single turret, so turrets are basically useless. He definitely needs that +2 armor upgrade. SoftBall, listen to Grey Torp. It'll be awesome. But nevertheless, the mutas are just running amok. There's nothing that SoftBall can do about this. Look now, going into this huge group of Marines. Not actually that huge, excuse me. We're going into the group of Marines now. Siege tanks. Oh my god, mutas have to get away. Oh god, that is the scariest thing, because Marines, even though, you know, mutas, they are big in number, Marines just shoot them down so fast. You don't want to be doing that exchange at all. Just make sure that you have the advantage the entire time. But idra, this is what I love about him. So what he's doing is just being a constant pest, making sure that his opponent can't really get up in the amount of anything. SCVs, Marines, Thors, siege tanks, whatever it might be. Behind, he has these units, the infestors, that basically says, you cannot push me aggressively anymore. You have to slow down. So it always gives room for my mutas to do a ton of damage, actually. Now,
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
Excuse me, I was just about to say, he also has the Greater Spire about halfway done, so even though he's maxed right now, even if this push somehow fails, despite him being so far ahead, you know, he'll just have that really great follow-up plan. He'll be able to start making Broodlords, and SoftBall, you know, doesn't have Ghost Tech. He does have Thor Tech, but, I mean, you're going to need a lot of Thors to actually be effective against Broodlords, so it might be in a lot of trouble here. There's Adrenal Glands on the way, so idra might just be waiting now. He's going to just take every single base on his side of the map, and just continue to be ridiculously annoying and aggressive with those mutas. And there's not much SoftBall can do about it. I mean, on a map like this, with slow, immobile units like Thors, he just can't have his units in all places at once. And idra is just beautifully abusing the increased mobility of those mutas compared to the Terran army.
Definitely. I think mutas are slightly faster than Thors, so it makes it very hard for Thors to be able to keep up and catch any of these mutas. So literally all idra has to do, this is what I'm talking about, that 4-base timing after the gold expansion pushes are done. This is such a brutal area where idra basically takes hold of everything. Big fungal growth going off, and there's the second one. All those Marines are dead in the water. Oh my goodness.
That was like a full fungal worth of Marines.
Man.
Unbelievable.
That was the tastiest thing in the world if I was a Zerg. It's the most depressing thing in the world if you're a Terran, though.
It is. It's so sad because, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it once it's already happened. You know, once you're fungal, it's like, well, it's too late for me to split up now, but the muta's going to come into the 4th, kill off all these turrets with ease, and SoftBall yet again going to be forced to just leave with those SCVs. He's coming in with the Marines, but how many mutas are there in here? It is, oh my god. I don't even know. 33 mutas total right now, with Corruptors on the way to start making those Broodlords. 2 Broodlords are actually already on the way. And idra just completing his tech path. He's starting to get Burrow, actually getting a bunch of Spines as well to defend. He's just engaging full on against the Marines. Softball is slowly falling further and further apart in this game with his ever decreasing Marine count.
You know, and this is so cool to watch because I think Softball is kind of in disbelief. He doesn't know what's going on. His main practice partner is Sen. Sen doesn't play anything like this. So seeing this mass muta style, he's just like, oh my god, this is so scary. Now finally this Thor is going to be picked off after a good magic box. GG comes out from Softball, and idra is going to take game number 2. And there you have it, idra